Welcome back to the channel. Rarest coins today. I'm bringing you a coin story that's going to blow your mind. When most people think of a penny, they probably don't imagine it could be worth much more than a single cent. But the 1994 Lincoln penny is a prime example of how something that seems ordinary can turn into an extraordinary treasure. This penny has a fascinating history, and a rare version of it could be worth up to $1.2 million. Yes, you heard that right, the $1.2 million. In this video, we're going to dive into the history behind the 1994 Lincoln penny, what makes certain versions of it so rare, and how you can spot one that could make you a fortune. Let's get started. A brief history of the Lincoln penny. Before we get into the specifics of the 1994 penny, let's take a moment to appreciate the history behind the Lincoln cent. The Lincoln penny was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. The design, created by sculptor Victor David Brenner, has remained iconic, with Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and various designs on the reverse. The original reverse design featured two wheat stalks, a motif that remained in place until 1958. After that, the design was updated to the Lincoln Memorial, which is what we see on most pennies today. The 1994 penny, like most of the pennies minted during this period, features the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side. However, even though it seems like a standard penny at first glance, there's a very special version of the 1994 Lincoln penny that is worth far more than just 1 cent. The rare error that makes the 1994 Lincoln penny so valuable. What makes the 1994 Lincoln penny worth so much money? The answer lies in a rare and valuable minting error that occurred during production. In the case of the 1994 penny, the error is known as the double die error. In a double die, the coin is struck twice, but the dies aren't aligned properly, causing the design to appear doubled or misaligned in certain areas. In the case of the 1994 penny, this double die error can be seen in several places, but it's most noticeable in the date and the word Liberty on the obverse side. If you look closely at these parts of the coin, you'll see that the digits in the year 1994 and the letters in Liberty are doubled, giving the coin a distinct, almost shadowed appearance. This kind of minting error is relatively rare, but what makes the 1994 Lincoln penny even more interesting is that not all of the pennies from that year were affected. Only a small percentage of the 1994 pennies were struck with the double die error, making them highly sought after by collectors. How rare is the 1994 double die Lincoln penny? You may be wondering how rare the 1994 double die Lincoln penny is. While it's difficult to pinpoint an exact number, it's widely believed that only a few hundred, if not fewer, of these error coins were ever produced. Most 1994 pennies were minted without issue, so the number of double die pennies is extremely small. It's important to note that not all 1994 pennies with the doubling error are in great condition. A lot of these coins were spent and circulated over the years, which means they're often worn or damaged. However, if you happen to have a well-preserved example, it could be worth a small fortune. The rarity of these error coins, especially in top condition, is what drives their value up. How much is the 1994 double die Lincoln penny worth? Now, let's get to the exciting part. How much is the 1994 Lincoln penny with a double die error actually worth? Depending on the condition of the coin, a 1994 double die Lincoln penny can be worth anywhere from a few $100s to upwards of $1.2 million. In 2008, a 1994 double die Lincoln penny in near perfect condition sold for an incredible $1.2 million at auction. This set a record and sent shockwaves through the coin collecting world. While that specific penny was a truly exceptional find, it shows just how much the value of these rare coins can appreciate. Even if your 1994 penny doesn't reach that $1.2 million mark, it could still fetch a significant amount of money, as several $1,000s or more, depending on its condition and the severity of the doubling error. Coins in mint state, with little to no wear and tear, are typically the most valuable. Professional organizations like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, and Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, grade coins based on their condition, and this grading system helps establish their market value. How to spot the 1994 double-die Lincoln penny. If you think you might have a 1994 Lincoln penny with a double-die error, it's essential to know what to look for. Here's what to check. 1. Inspect the date. The first place to check for doubling is the date. Look carefully at the digits in 1994. If you notice any doubling, especially in the 9 and 4, then you could have a valuable coin. The doubling may be faint, so be sure to inspect the digits closely. 2. Look at the word Liberty. Next, examine the word Liberty on the front of the coin. The letters in Liberty should appear doubled, with a clear shadow or offset impression next to the original letters. Again, the doubling might be subtle, so make sure to use a magnifying glass or loupe to get a closer look. 3. Check the mint mark. Some 1994 pennies with the double-die error also show slight doubling in the mint mark. The D mint mark indicates that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint, so it's worth checking closely to see if the mint mark shows any doubling. 4. Condition matters. As with all collectible coins, condition is incredibly important. The better the condition of your penny, the more valuable it will be. Coins with little wear, scratches, or discoloration will command higher prices, especially if they are graded highly by a professional grading service. What should you do if you think you have a 1994 double-die Lincoln penny? If you think you found a 1994 Lincoln penny with a double-die error, don't spend it. It's essential to have the coin authenticated by a professional to confirm its value. There are many reputable coin dealers and numismatists who can authenticate your coin and determine whether it's a genuine double-die error. Once your coin has been authenticated, consider having it graded by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. The grade of the coin will play a significant role in determining its market value. If the coin is in excellent condition, it could be worth significantly more than a coin in average condition. Conclusion: the 1994 Lincoln penny is a great example of how a small error in the minting process can turn an ordinary coin into a valuable collector's item. If you have a 1994 penny with the double-die error, you could be holding onto a treasure worth thousands or even millions of dollars. Next time you're going through your spare change, take a closer look at your pennies. You never know, you might just have a rare, valuable coin on your hands. Thanks for watching today's video. I hope this information helps you on your own coin hunting journey. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more amazing coin stories. Who knows, your next $1 million find might be just around the corner. Until next time, happy collecting. Welcome back to the channel. Rarest coins. Today, we're talking about a truly fascinating coin, the 1993 Lincoln penny. You might be thinking, a penny? Really? But trust me, this isn't just any penny. The 1993 Lincoln penny has been known to fetch incredible prices, with some of these coins reaching a value of up to $1.3 million. Yes, you heard that right, $1.3 million. In this video, we're going to dive into the history of the 1993 Lincoln penny, what makes it so special, and how you can identify one that might just be worth a fortune. So let's get started. A quick look at the history of the Lincoln penny. The Lincoln penny has a rich history that dates back to 1909, when it was first introduced to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was designed by artist Victor David Brenner, and from the start, it became an iconic piece of American currency. The original design featured a portrait of Lincoln on the front and wheat stalks on the reverse, which was in use until 1958. After that, the design was updated to feature the Lincoln Memorial, which is still the design seen on most pennies today. The 1993 Lincoln penny carries this design, and while it looks like your typical penny, there's a very rare version of this coin that could make it worth a small fortune. The 1993 Lincoln penny and its rare error. Now, what makes the 1993 Lincoln penny stand out from all the others? The answer lies in a rare error that happened during its minting process. You see, while most 1993 pennies were struck without issue, a small number of them were struck with a very unique and valuable error, the double-die error. In a double-die error, the die that strikes the coin isn't properly aligned, causing the design elements to be doubled or distorted. In the case of the 1993 penny, this error is most noticeable in the date and the word Liberty. If you closely inspect the coin, You may notice that parts of these inscriptions appear to be doubled, as if there's a shadow or a second impression of each part of the design. These double die errors can happen in several ways, but the most valuable version of the 1993 penny features a noticeable doubling of the digits in the date, as well as the letters and Liberty on the obverse side. These errors are rare, and finding one in good condition is a real treasure for coin collectors. How rare is the 1993 Lincoln double die penny? Now, you might be wondering, how rare is this 1993 Lincoln double die penny? Well, while exact numbers are hard to come by, estimates suggest that only a handful of these error coins exist in circulation. The vast majority of 1993 pennies are perfectly normal and worth only 1 cent, but a few, thanks to their unique error, have become highly prized among collectors. What makes this penny even more fascinating is that these errors weren't caught at the mint, so they weren't pulled from circulation and destroyed. Instead, they were released into the public, and many of them were spent or discarded, making them even more rare. Over time, coin enthusiasts began to notice these errors, and once they caught on, the demand for these pennies skyrocketed. The value of the 1993 double die Lincoln penny. So, how much is the 1993 Lincoln penny worth? Well, this is where it gets really interesting. Depending on the condition and the severity of the doubling, a 1993 Lincoln double die penny could be worth anywhere from a few $100s to as much as $1.3 million. In 2008, one such coin, a 1993 double die penny in nearly mint condition, was sold at auction for an astounding $1.3 million. This was an incredible find, and it set a new standard for modern pennies. Of course, not every 1993 Lincoln penny with a doubling error will fetch such a high price, but even a moderately well-preserved penny with this error can be worth thousands of dollars. For a coin to reach its full potential value, it needs to be in top condition. This means it should be free of wear, scratches, or damage. The higher the grade, the more it's worth. If the coin is authenticated and graded by a professional organization like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, its value will be even more accurately assessed, and it will be easier for collectors to verify its authenticity. How to spot a 1993 double die Lincoln penny? So, you're probably asking yourself, hey, how can you tell if you've got a 1993 Lincoln penny that could be worth thousands, or even millions? Here's what you need to look for. 1. Examine the data. The most obvious sign of the double die error is the doubling of the date. Look closely at the numbers in 1993. You'll notice that the digits appear to be doubled, particularly the 9 and the 3. The doubling might be subtle, so make sure to use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe to get a clear view. 2. Look at the word Liberty. Another area to check is the word Liberty on the obverse. The letters should appear doubled, and the effect can sometimes be faint, so pay close attention to the areas where the letters touch one another. 3. Inspect the mint mark. While not as common, some 1993 pennies with the double die error will also show a slightly doubled mint mark. This D-mint mark signifies that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. 4. Condition is key. As with all coins, condition matters. A penny with the error is only worth a significant amount if it is in good to excellent condition. The more worn or scratched the coin is, the less valuable it will be. What to do if you find a 1993 double die Lincoln penny? If you think you've found a 1993 Lincoln penny with the double die error, the first thing you should do is resist the temptation to spend it. It's important to have the coin authenticated by a professional before you do anything else. A reputable coin dealer or numismatist can help verify if your coin is a legitimate double die error. Once it's confirmed, you may want to have it graded by a professional organization like PCGS or NGC. This will give you a better idea of its true value and make it easier to sell or auction if you choose to do so. Conclusion: the 1993 Lincoln penny with the double die error is one of the rarest and most valuable coins from the modern era. While most 1993 pennies are worth only a cent, a select few could be worth thousands or even millions of dollars. If you've got a 1993 penny in your collection, it might be worth taking a closer look. You could be holding a hidden treasure. Thanks for watching today's video. I hope you found this information helpful and inspiring for your own coin hunting. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss out on more incredible coin stories. Who knows, you might just find your own $1 million penny. Until next time, happy collecting. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we have something truly exciting to talk about, and if you're into coin collecting or just love learning about valuable treasures, you're going to want to stick around. We're diving deep into a particular coin that could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.1 million at the 1997 Lincoln penny. That's right, this simple, everyday coin, which might just be sitting in your spare change jar, could potentially be a rare and highly sought-after item. But how did this ordinary penny become so valuable, and what makes it so special? Let's explore the history, the rarity, and what you need to know about the 1997 Lincoln penny. The history of the Lincoln penny. First, let's take a quick look at the Lincoln penny's history. The Lincoln penny was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner, it features a portrait of Lincoln on the obverse and a simple wheat stalk design on the reverse, which was used until 1958. In 1959, the design was changed to the Lincoln Memorial, which is what we see today. Over the years, the Lincoln penny has undergone several changes, including material changes, with the penny transitioning from being made primarily of copper to a mix of copper and zinc. The 1997 Lincoln penny, specifically, was minted in Denver, and it has since become known for one very important reason: the existence of a rare error version. What makes the 1997 Lincoln penny so special? So, here's the deal. The 1997 penny, like most coins, was struck during regular minting processes, but a very small number of these coins were struck with a distinctive error. This error, known as a double die error, occurred when the dies used to strike the coins weren't properly aligned. This misalignment caused certain features of the design to appear doubled, particularly the date and the word Liberty on the coin's obverse. While double die errors are relatively common in older coins, the 1997 Lincoln penny with this error is extremely rare, and that's what has caused it to skyrocket in value. How rare is the 1997 double die Lincoln penny? The 1997 double die penny isn't something you'll come across every day. In fact, it's so rare that only a handful of them are known to exist in good condition. It's believed that only a few hundred of these double die error pennies were ever minted, and they weren't even noticed by most people until years later when collectors and numismatists began to spot the error. This rarity makes it one of the most sought-after modern error coins in the world. If you've got a 1997 penny lying around, don't just assume it's valuable. The double die version is extremely specific, and most 1997 pennies are not going to be worth much beyond their face value. You'll need to look carefully at your coin to see if it has that distinctive double feature. How much is the 1997 double die Lincoln penny worth? Now for the exciting part, just how much could this penny be worth? Depending on the condition of the coin, a 1997 double die Lincoln penny can fetch anywhere from a few $100s to an incredible $1.1 million. That's right, a $1.1 million. In 2008, a 1997 double die penny in nearly perfect condition was sold at auction for the eye-popping amount, making it one of the most expensive modern pennies ever sold. The price varies depending on factors like the coin's condition, the prominence of the doubling, and whether or not it has been authenticated and graded by professional organizations such as the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC. Coins that are in mint state, meaning they have no visible wear or damage, are typically worth the most. How to spot a 1997 double die Lincoln penny? If you think you might have a 1997 double die penny, it's important to know how to spot the error. Here are a few key things to look for. 1. Look at the date. On the obverse of the coin, closely inspect the digits of the date. If you see any doubling, two distinct impressions of the digits, you might have a double-die penny. 2. Check the word liberty. The word liberty on the front of the coin may also show doubling, with the letters looking almost as if they are stacked on top of each other. 3. Inspect the mint mark. The D mint mark, which represents the Denver Mint, could also be slightly doubled. This doubling is much more subtle than the date and liberty, so be sure to check carefully. To properly identify a double-die penny, you'll want to use a magnifying glass or a microscope, as the details can be very small but still noticeable. What should you do if you think you have one? If you think you have a 1997D double-die penny, don't just go spending it. The first step is to have it authenticated by a professional. There are many reputable coin dealers and numismatic experts who can verify whether your penny is indeed a rare error coin. Once authenticated, you'll want to have it graded to determine its condition. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin could be. If you're lucky enough to have a high-grade, well-preserved 1997D double-die penny, you might be sitting on a small fortune. Conclusion: the 1997D Lincoln penny is a perfect example of how something seemingly ordinary can turn into an incredible treasure. With its rare double-die error, this penny is highly sought after by collectors, and in the right condition, it could be worth an astounding $1.1 million. So, next time you're going through your spare change, take a closer look at those pennies. You might just have a little gem in your pocket that could make you a lot of money. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more amazing coin collecting stories. Who knows, you could be the next lucky person to discover a $1 million penny. Until next time, happy collecting. Welcome back to the channel. Rarest coins today. I have a truly fascinating story about a coin that's probably sitting in your spare change right now, but it could be worth a lot more than just 1 cent. We're talking about the 1985D Lincoln penny, a coin that, under the right circumstances, can be worth up to a staggering $1.4 million. Yes, you heard that right. A Lincoln penny from 1985, minted in Denver, could be worth a fortune. Now, you may be wondering, how can a penny possibly be worth that much? In this video, we're going to explore the history of the 1985D Lincoln penny, how it became so valuable, and exactly what makes it so rare. You'll also learn how to identify if you have one of these rare pennies in your collection. So, let's dive into the history and find out what makes the 1985D penny worth so much. A brief history of the Lincoln penny. Let's take a step back and talk about the history of the Lincoln penny. First introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the Lincoln cent has become one of the most iconic coins in American history. The original, designed by Victor David Brenner, featured a portrait of Lincoln on the obverse, with 2 wheat stalks on the reverse. This wheat design was used until 1958, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design, which is what we see on the reverse of most modern Lincoln pennies today. The Lincoln Memorial design has been used on pennies since 1959, and it's what we see on the 1985D Lincoln penny. The obverse, as always, features a portrait of President Abraham Lincoln. So, from a design perspective, this coin looks like any other modern Lincoln penny. But there's something that sets a small number of 1985D pennies apart, and that's where the real story begins. The rare error that makes the 1985D Lincoln penny valuable. So, how did a seemingly normal penny from 1985 become one of the most sought-after coins in modern numismatics? The answer lies in a very rare minting error that happened during production. This error is known as the double-die error, and it has made some 1985D Lincoln pennies incredibly valuable. A double-die error occurs when a coin is struck more than once, but the dies used to strike the coin are slightly misaligned. This causes the design elements on the coin to be doubled, giving certain parts of the coin an appearance of being slightly shifted or offset. The most noticeable part of this error on the 1985D penny is the doubling of the date and the word liberty on the obverse. While it's not uncommon for coins to have minor doubling due to wear on the dies, the 1985D doubled die penny has a particularly strong and visible doubling effect, making it extremely desirable to coin collectors. However, not every 1985D penny has this error. Only a small number of these coins were struck with the double die, which is what makes them so rare and valuable. How rare is the 1985D double die Lincoln penny? The 1985D double die Lincoln penny is very rare. In fact, it is estimated that only a few hundred of these coins were ever produced with the error. Since these pennies were released into circulation, most of them were spent or simply passed through the hands of people who didn't recognize their value. Because of this, finding a 1985D penny with the double die error in good condition is very difficult. Most of the coins with this error that have been found are worn from years of circulation. However, a well-preserved example of this rare coin can fetch a significant amount of money, making it a sought-after piece for serious collectors. The rarity of the error and the limited number of these coins still in circulation are what make the 1985D double die Lincoln penny so valuable. And if you happen to have one in pristine condition, it could be worth significantly more. How much is the 1985D double die Lincoln penny worth? Now, for the big question, how much can a 1985D Lincoln penny with a double die error be worth? Well, it can vary depending on the condition of the coin, but in some cases, these coins can sell for as much as $1.4 million. That's right, one of these pennies, in perfect condition, was sold at auction for $1.4 million, setting an incredible record for a modern coin. Of course, not every 1985D penny with the double die error will be worth that much, but even a coin in good condition could fetch thousands of dollars at auction. The value of the coin depends on several factors, including how clearly the doubling is visible, the condition of the coin, and whether the coin has been graded and authenticated by a professional organization. Professional grading services like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, and Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, are trusted to evaluate the quality of a coin and assign it a grade, which helps determine its market value. How to spot a 1985D double die Lincoln penny? So, now that you know how valuable the 1985D double die Lincoln penny can be, how can you tell if you have one? Here are a few things to look for when inspecting your pennies. 1. Look at the date. The most obvious place to check for the double die error is in the date. The digits in the year 1985 should appear doubled, especially the 1, 9, and the 5. You might notice that the numbers look slightly offset or like there's a shadow next to them. This is a key indicator of the double die error. 2. Check the word liberty. The word liberty on the obverse of the coin will also show doubling if the coin has the error. The letters in liberty will appear as if they have a shadow or second imprint next to them. This is one of the most noticeable places to look for the error. 3. Inspect the mint mark. The D-mint mark, which indicates that the penny was minted in Denver, can also show slight doubling on some coins with the error. However, this doubling is usually less noticeable than the date and liberty. 4. Condition of the coin. As with all collectible coins, the condition of the 1985D penny is incredibly important. The better the condition, the more valuable the coin will be. Look for coins that are free from scratches, dents, or wear, as these will fetch higher prices. What to do if you think you have a 1985D double die Lincoln penny? If you think you might have a 1985D Lincoln penny with a double die error, don't just spend it or throw it in a drawer. It's important to have the coin authenticated and graded by a professional to confirm its value. You can take your coin to a reputable coin dealer, or you can send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC for evaluation. Once the coin has been graded, you'll have a clearer idea of its worth and whether it's worth pursuing a sale or auction. If your coin is confirmed to be a 1985D double-die Lincoln penny and is in good condition, you could be holding onto a very valuable piece of American history. Conclusion: the 1985D Lincoln penny with the double-die error is one of the most rare and valuable coins from the modern era. With the potential to be worth as much as $1.4 million, this little penny has become a prized possession among collectors. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just getting started with coin collecting, finding one of these rare pennies could be your ticket to a life-changing discovery. So, next time you're sorting through your change, take a closer look at those 1985D pennies. You might just be holding onto a treasure worth a fortune. Thanks for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell so you never miss out on more amazing coin stories. Who knows, your next $1 million find could be just around the corner. Until next time, happy collecting.